the school in which the teacher preparation and certification program is housed at Tulane. We will talk a little bit more about that in a minute. We are thrilled that you all are with us. Tonight, you're going to hear from myself a little bit about the admissions process, from the program director, Kelly McClure, who is with us, and also from Rebecca Latham from NOLA Public Schools. If you have some questions, you can put them in the chat box at the bottom of your screen. Actually, before we get started, we're always kind of interested in knowing who our audience is. If you wouldn't mind dropping your name in the chat box and saying if you are currently teaching at a school, what school you are teaching, where you're teaching, or if you're interested in specifically one of our programs, you can put that information in if you're not currently teaching, and we will drop a welcome in the chat box so that you will know where to go ahead. There you go. So Ann Conlon is our colleague who is behind the scenes making the trains run. She's going to be moving us through the slides, but if you wouldn't mind just responding. And all right, Javion is, I hope I said that correctly. If I didn't,
Yes, correct.
Okay, good. Thank you. You can always, here's the other thing, folks. This is a bit of a conversation. So if you want to take yourselves off of mute, you can do that also. If you'd like to keep your camera on, we'd love to see faces, but you don't have to. Monique is with Audubon Charter, Montessori. I am a product of Montessori elementary schools. I'm a big Montessori fan. Caroline is with First Line. Regina is with Audubon and Gentilly. Charlotte is specials. Oh, with the edible schoolyard. Yes. And the Phyllis Wheatley School. I know that school as well. That's great. Closing out your 6th year, but not certified. You can do that. So this is great. We really appreciate if there's anybody else who wants to drop their name in the chat. We appreciate it. So that's great. And we will go ahead and get started. If you want to take us to the next slide, Anne. All right, so a little bit about the School of Professional Advancement. We are one of the smaller schools housed under the umbrella of Tulane University. Tulane itself was founded in 1834 as the Medical College of Louisiana. I don't know how many folks know that history, but we were initially founded as a medical school with the intent to address the yellow fever epidemic of the 1830s, which was hitting Louisiana in this area, the Gulf South, pretty hard. And here we are, fast forward to 2021, and we're in another epidemic. And so the more things change, the more they stay the same. But what's important to understand about the timeline is that that was the 1830s, and very shortly thereafter, about 50 years after, in 1886, the university recognized a need to offer its education to our New Orleans community, but specifically to working adults. There was a need for folks in the community who were professionals who perhaps wanted to go back to school and gain additional information, to have a place to do that at Tulane. And so the School of Professional Advancement is the most recent iteration of that concept, and we have been doing a very good job for over 130 years. So hopefully you all will feel that in our presentation, and then hopefully also join us as students and benefit from our 130 years of expertise. So a little bit about what we're going to touch on tonight is our programs and our faculty, the strength of our faculty, our student support, which I think is extraordinary. I think it sets us apart from other universities, but I also think within Tulane University, the School of Professional Advancement actually offers the best support to students. And I have been a student at Tulane University. I've gotten 3 degrees there, and I'm jealous of the student support at SoPA, because it is so hands-on and so accessible. We're going to talk a little bit about our affordability and flexibility. This is my favorite thing to talk about because folks think Tulane and they think expensive, and that is true. However, the School of Professional Advancement, as part of its mission to reach out to working adults, is we have a different price point. We're intentionally priced differently than the rest of the entire university. And that is because we know that our students aren't like your traditional undergrads or even your traditional graduate students who kind of stop their lives, go back to graduate school or go to undergraduate school, and then enter back into the workforce. We realize that you're juggling work, possibly family commitments, and also your educational goals. So that is reflected in our tuition rate. And we also have some discounts and scholarships to share with you. So that's lots of fun to share. And then we do talk about the strength of our Tulane degree, because ultimately we feel like once you get your degree, your certification, or your endorsement here at Tulane, that the Tulane name on your resume does open doors. And so we want you to have the affordability, the quality of professors, and the Tulane degree to get you where you want to be professionally. All right, I am going to hand our presentation over to Kelly McClure, who is the director of the program, and I'll be talking to you all a little bit later in the evening.
Hi, everybody. Welcome, and thank you so much for attending tonight. I'm going to just talk briefly a few slides about our certificate programs, our endorsement pathways, and minors. So here in Tulane School of Professional Advancement, we offer pre-K to 12 education programs. They combine relevant coursework and focused field experience based on the needs of the education sector. We train both beginning and experienced teachers to have the right mindsets, knowledge, and skills to make every pre-K-12 student we teach successful. Two hallmarks of our effective educators are those who show a strong commitment to self-evaluation and continuous professional learning. So this is one of the focal points of our programming. Tulane SoPA candidates are both supported to become and expected to be catalysts for innovation and social change, and spend their time with us improving their teaching craft accordingly. There are three types of programs that we typically offer. The first are our certificate programs, as you see here on the slide, of which there are two possibilities at present. There's an early childhood education pathway, as well as that of a secondary education. Note that either of these programs can be completed in 2 to 3 years, depending on your own needs. These programs were designed for those of you who hold a bachelor's degree but are not a licensed teacher yet. Early childhood education is, of course, focused on teaching and learning for our youngest pre-K to 3 early year students. And then secondary, as you might expect, 6 to 12 students. And candidates in the secondary pathway also concentrate in a variety of specific subject areas, including English, mathematics, social studies, sciences, including physics, chemistry, or biology. And we have foreign languages from Spanish, French, German to Italian and Latin. On the next slide, we talk a little bit about endorsements. We have two of these types of pathways that are beginning or restarting this summer. Both of these endorsement pathways are designed for those wishing to specialize in these areas. They are also designed for general education teachers who are looking to add to their tool belt of strategies and skills for teaching diverse learners. Our creation of both of these pathways arose, in fact, from the express needs of schools in the greater New Orleans area, and the data, which, as we all know, show that we have a long way to go in serving these students so that they too can be successful academically and in life. Like the programs listed for the post-baccalaureate pathways on the previous slide, candidates complete the coursework for either or both of these endorsement programs. For the special education K-12 add-on endorsement, there are 6 courses towards the endorsement and then a practice exam to reach certification. And for the teaching English learners endorsement, we offer 4 courses for those currently certified as teachers in the state of Louisiana. Both pathways can be completed within 1 academic year or less. And since we know that many of you are here this evening to learn more about these 2 programs in particular, and particularly the funding available to cover the costs even more specifically, we'll be having a little bit more of an in-depth Q&A in just a moment. So just be sure to stay on if you're interested. Finally, there's the minors for those of you who are interested. At present, we have 2. The first is in teaching English learners and that's a minor, and requires candidates to take 6 instead of the 4 courses I mentioned on the previous slide. These candidates will thus receive both the minor and the add-on endorsement with the state of Louisiana. The second is Teaching, Learning, and Training minor, which provides foundational knowledge and experiences for students to become effective in teaching, training, mentoring others in a variety of venues, such as classroom teaching and school administration in private or public schools, medical facilities, businesses, and nonprofit and for-profit organizations. The minor will better prepare candidates for a variety of professional settings, including graduate school, Teach for America, City Year, corporate training divisions, health education, teaching and training abroad, and even Peace Corps. At this time, I'd like to hand this back to Sheila to talk a little bit more about the types of supports, academic as well as with career transition, so forth, and then we'll get into finances.
Thanks, Kelly. So I do like to highlight our student success and support. And it's important for me to make the point this evening for you all to walk away with the idea that Tulane is not only committed to helping you all get into our programs, but to being successful in our programs. So we are invested in not only bringing students in the door, but watching you cross the stage at graduation. And there's multiple ways that we support our students. We have scaffolding of support. You all are classroom teachers, so you know that there are multiple ways that you can support students. We do have dedicated academic advisors that are just for SoPA students. So we do not have our students share advising with other parts of the university. SoPA has its own advisors that are available to students. And when I say available, they are available. In their email signatures, they all have a calendar link. So if you wake up one morning and have a question for your advisor, you can put yourself on their calendar that day. And that's what the expectation is that our advisors will have students reach out to them and use them for as much support as they need. That support can be time management, it could be help with the class, it could be navigating some actual curriculum, it could be picking your next set of courses, or even just generally kind of talking about your experience as a student. We also have a network of program peers and other Tulane alumni that are available to our students, which is how you start building your professional network. That's an important network. It can help keep you sustained professionally after you graduate. And then we have other types of support that we know are important to help students succeed, such as designated financial aid counselors just for our students. So we know that many of our students have some sort of financial aid. We'll have questions along the way, and we make that process as easy as possible as we can for our students, as well as we have assistance when it comes time to field placements, which I know that Kelly will talk about a little bit more, but you're not left up to your own devices to find your field placement. And we also have our very own in-house career advisor. She is incredibly knowledgeable, dedicated just to our students, and is available for a variety of things. So if you all want to update your resume and have somebody look it over, help you build your LinkedIn page, even help you do sort of mock run through interviews if it's time to interview for a job, she is there for that. And then we have a tutoring center. So if you're having some academic struggles in class, that's also available to you for writing support and other tutoring support. So this is all part of what's available to you. And we encourage students to take advantage of it. It's part of the package of Tulane, and there we create very few barriers for you to access this type of support. So we hope that you'll take advantage of it. All right. So, like I said, I like to talk a little bit about the affordability. So, Tulane School of Professional Advancement is specifically priced differently than the rest of the university, as I mentioned. Our programs are actually priced at the undergraduate rate. Though most of you already have a bachelor's degree, our teacher preparation certificate is actually considered a post-baccalaureate program, but it is priced at our undergraduate rate. At Tulane SoPA, for the summer, our undergraduate rate is $524 per credit hour, and then starting in the fall, that increases slightly to $576 per credit hour. Each of our courses is 3 credit hours. So a little over $1,500 per course, and most of our students take 1 to 2 courses per semester. It's really important for me to point out that we layer very few fees on top of the tuition rates. I know that our students are savvy consumers when they look at our program and other programs, as you should be. Always ask yourself, what are additional fees on top of tuition rates? Even in our local New Orleans community, other sister schools, you will find that once you start adding on the fees, it can almost double what you pay per semester. That is not the case at Tulane SoPA, and we are very intentional about that. We also try to do other things to keep our price down, like if faculty can somehow provide reading material for you so that you don't have to go out and purchase a book, they will try and provide that. Upload articles to your Canvas site, for instance. We try to be mindful not to have our students have to purchase things that they should not need to purchase. So we work with students to do that. We also work with students so that if you need to, if there are books, if there's a way that you can check out those books or borrow those books, that's also options for our students also. So please reach out if you have questions about that. Do not spend money that you do not need to be spending. With the fact that we are intentional about our price point, we also know that many of our students still take out some sort of financial aid. The aid that's available to our students is through federal grants and loans. We are proudly a yellow ribbon program school. So if any of you all are veterans, please reach out about that. And then there is also system-wide initiative funding, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, and Department of Education funding. When you add all of these pieces up, I think you will be pleasantly surprised by how affordable our programs are. We also provide several 20% tuition discounts. So if you're active duty military, if you're over 60 years old, if you are a city or parish employee, if you are a first responder, if you have your bachelor's degree, if you earned your bachelor's degree from a minority serving institution, meaning a historically Black college or university, a Hispanic serving institution, or an Indigenous person serving institution, we offer a 20% discount for alumni of those schools. If you are a current teacher, which I believe many of you are, or if you're a veteran, there is a 20% discount in addition to our low tuition rate. So all of these pieces add up for our students in a positive way. Next screen. So I'm going to have Kelly walk you through a little bit more of the financial supports.
Actually, I'm going to hand this part over because we are lucky enough to have Rebecca Latham with us tonight from NOLA Public Schools. Rebecca, could you just introduce yourself a bit and then share the information that you have?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Rebecca Latham. I'm the Director of School Support and Improvement at NOLA Public Schools. I also facilitate the management of the system-wide needs program at NOLA Public Schools. And so on this slide here, I just gave a quick overview of what that program is. It actually got approved by the Louisiana State Legislation in the spring of 2019. And the purpose of the program is to support initiatives for the charter schools within our city that result in improvements in two big areas: teacher talent, teacher pipeline improvements, and specialized programs. Within the teacher pipeline, we really look to use the funds that go into these programs to grow, diversify, and sustain the current pipelines to ensure that we have diverse talent available to fill the vacancies within the public schools in our city. We also really strive to increase the number of trained and certified teachers in high needs areas. So the two big areas I think that SoPA touched on tonight are teaching English learners and teaching students with disabilities. These funds support local initiative programs designed to recruit local candidates, such as you all, into local universities here in the city. And then we also look to partner with programs that support novice teachers, but also support leadership opportunities for existing teachers. And so the biggest kind of focus area where we put funds from this program that's relevant to what SoPA does is just the effective development and support for aspiring educators. And so what we do at NOLA Public Schools is we offer a tuition incentive for candidates who are working towards the certification in high needs areas. In addition to teaching English learners and teaching students with disabilities, we also include math and sciences in those high needs areas. So the application process for the system-wide needs program is currently open, and all of your school leaders have access to that. Within that application, they request awards for tuition reimbursement. And so they're actively working within the schools to try to recruit teachers who are interested in going through any of these high needs certification programs. What we're looking to do is to ensure kind of that we have registration so we can make sure the awards go to folks that we know are committed and engaging in the programs. And so one of the things we wanted to make sure that y'all knew tonight from NOLA Public Schools is that there are tuition incentives for these pathways. We're currently working on what that amount is going to be with the budget. We know that it'll be at least $4,000. It is possible it will be more than that. We are just waiting for a finalized budget from the board next Thursday. So what I can tell you tonight is it'll be a minimum of $4,000, but we are putting forth to the board next week to increase the funding in this pool. So we expect that those stipends will either go up or that we'll be able to award more of them. We will know the demand closer to the end of this week. But if any of y'all are interested or have already registered, would love for you to let myself know, let Kelly know, and we can make sure we're working with the schools where you're teaching to make sure that the requests come for you all to be able to take advantage of the tuition incentives.
Thank you so much, Rebecca. We'll stay on if there are questions around anything that has been presented, but back over to Sheila.
Thank you, Rebecca. It's an honor actually to have you join us tonight. So we really appreciate it. And we certainly hope that this will create an incredible partnership and that we'll have lots of students taking advantage of that discount. It is an incredible incentive. So our application process, we try to make very transparent, although as the director of admissions, I always say to prospective students, if you have any questions along the way, please reach out. My contact information is available, and I always tell students we actually philosophically consider the application process as the beginning of our relationship building with our students. So we like to hear questions from students. We like for you all to send us emails, give us a call. It is our pleasure actually to get to know students. And so while we hope we create a very easy application, we also hope that you'll feel very comfortable reaching out. Our application is an online application. It can be found on our website. And the link for that is sopa.tulane.edu. When you go to our website, there'll be a big button at the top that says apply. That opens you up to our application portal. You'll have to put in your name and your email, and then you will start the application. I always like to tell students in the webinars, do not forget, it is the undergraduate application. You will be asked to pick either graduate or undergraduate. Please pick undergraduate. If for some reason you forget, just email us. It's very easy for us on the back end to pick it, to change it for you, but just make a little note right now to pick the undergraduate application. There is a $40 application fee. However, as a thank you for taking time out of the end of your busy day, I know that this is the end of the school year and that everybody is exhausted. I know I've worked in pre-K through 12 schools. It is exhausting. I know you all are making it to the finish line. So thank you for coming tonight to learn more about our program. And another way that we say thank you is we will automatically waive that fee for you. You will need to upload an image of a current government ID. For most of you all, that will be your driver's license. Just take a picture on your phone, upload it to the application, and then we will need you to send us transcripts from any undergraduate institution where you received credits. The easiest way to do that is to request them electronically be sent to us. Some schools only allow transcripts to be sent by U.S. Postal Service. It delays things a little bit, and sometimes they can get lost. The vast majority of schools, you can go to their registrar's site on their website and request an electronic transcript be sent to us, and we get them virtually in a day. And then we can attach them to your application. Once again, we certainly hope that we'll see your application, but if you have any questions, go ahead and send them our way through an email or a phone call. A couple other little things we like to mention. We do not require the GRE. Sometimes students have questions about that. So that's another thing that we do to try and make it easier for students and reduce the cost for admissions. We subscribe to the data that shows that the GRE is not really a very good indicator of how well students will do in post undergraduate work. So that's our application process, and we hope that we'll see applications from you all soon. Some deadlines for you all to be aware of. Our summer application is actually, the deadline is May 1, although we have extended that. It will be open until through June, actually. So for those of you who are interested in taking classes this summer, the application is still open and you can go ahead and take advantage of our summer term. If you're interested in starting in the fall, August 1st is our application deadline. However, we do offer an early enrollment scholarship. So our application works on a rolling basis. As soon as you get your application into us and it's complete, we will evaluate it and send you your admissions decision. So if you're interested in the fall term, you can get your application in now. And if you register for classes by June 1, then you'll get an early enrollment scholarship of $200. Same thing for the spring term. If you are interested in starting in January 1 is the application deadline. But if you get your application in now and register for classes by December 1, you'll get a $200 scholarship. That is just $200 off your first semester of tuition. It's another way that we try to work with students to make the transition of going back to school a little bit more affordable. Next slide, please. All right, so Kelly's contact information is on the screen. If you have any questions, I'm gonna have my contact information dropped into the chat. It's sgold@tulane.edu. It's also on our website. And I am more than happy to answer any questions that you have. Oh, there it is. Thank you. Anne dropped it into the chat. Sheila Gold, sgold@tulane.edu. So at this point, we're available to answer any questions that you may have. You can either drop them in the chat or take yourself off of mute.
Sheila, it looks like we have a few questions from Charlotte in the chat. So let's take those one at a time. The first question is, how are the minors and concentrations different? Is it just cost-based? And so would you like to speak to that, or would you like me to? Okay. So minors, of course, would be associated with undergraduate degrees. So if you're coming here for an undergraduate degree, you would be able to pursue a minor. If you were not, and you were coming for the post-bac, you already have you have your undergraduate degree and you're teaching, that would be called a concentration, or they call it officially at the state an endorsement. So it's essentially adding on to a degree that you already have. Is that clear, Charlotte? Good, okay. Is there a master's option for working people, or that is through a different part of Tulane? That actually is a not yet. We are proposing our master's program actually this fall, and for Bessie, and we will be opening our doors, if all goes well and fingers are crossed, in the fall of 2022. It is possible to begin coursework, but we have, I think, at least 2, if not 4, education courses through the Masters of Public Administration that have a specific focus for master's programs. We also, I assume, will have a few courses that, have overlap, but it has not been figured out yet. So, just quite honestly, not yet, but soon. Anything else to add there, Sheila? No, okay. The third, what do you feel makes a 2 to 3 year program more valuable than the 1 year programs like Teach NOLA or Relay? So I think timeline aside, I want to say that I have deep respect, and I have colleagues from around the city and from throughout my career who work and started these programs at Teach NOLA and Relay. They are both excellent programs. I think there's a few things that distinguish us, and obviously one is the institution of Tulane that has been around, and as Sheila spoke to, obviously the School of Professional Advancement has deeper ties, certainly longer history. I know that both of the programs are unable, because of the types of institutions that they're unable to offer the endorsement programs that we are. And then in terms of, the timeline, I think I'm not exactly sure about, the level of their courses and the amount of time that you spend. So I don't think that I feel comfortable speaking to that. But is there anything any more particular that you have there, Charlotte?
I guess just like in terms of working and going to school, thinking about 2 to 3 years just feels a little daunting. So, I mean, I think y'all have spoken to what makes it manageable and valuable. But yeah, just kind of wondering.
With our advisors, we'd have someone sit down with you even in advance of, getting your application in, to walk you through and like, what would a reasonable amount of programming look like for you? I think it varies. And so we definitely, can do shorter versions and then, longer versions. It also depends on whether you're willing to take things in the summertime or not. So obviously we have courses running throughout the year. And so for those who are really excited, they can definitely, put it together in a shorter amount of time. Let's see. Can field programs be in our current positions? Absolutely. So if you're a teacher of record now in a school and you wanted to come back for certification or an endorsement, you absolutely would be able to keep your position and get credit for not only your residency, but your field placements as well. And so all of that counts. You wouldn't have to go and do additional programming outside of what you already do. So are there other questions?
I just put a few questions in the chat about transcripts, and just to verify my understanding of what we needed to do.
So I see it says, do I need to send the transcripts in addition? So the question is, Kelly, her teaching certification is an MAT. Does she need to send those transcripts in addition to my undergraduate transcripts? I do think that helps strengthen an application. So I would encourage you to send those. And I think the rest of your question is the first step to turn in the online application for the admissions process. Yes, that is the first step. Go to sopa.tulane.edu, apply button, get that application started, undergraduate application. Go ahead and get that in. And then there's a question about contacting NOLAPs to be put on the list for the stipend. So Kelly's shaking her head. Yes, I'm going to let you speak to that.
Yeah, Rebecca, if you have something more specific here, but I'd say that if you are interested in these stipends available through the System-Wide Needs Initiative, then absolutely make yourself known to Rebecca Latham and I, and then we can help support you with your school be on the official list and access those funds.
Yeah, definitely reach out and let us know. Like I said, those applications are available to your school leaders, and to get access to them, they actually had to identify themselves. So if you tell me who you are and what school you're at, I can make sure that the leaders know to put you as a request on the applications.
Okay. Well, I'm Regina Sullivan at Audubon. I can ask my principal about it.
Regina, I can let you know who has access too, so you know exactly who to go to.
Okay.
I'll look it up and shoot it to you in the chat.
Okay. Thank you.
I'd like to go back up in the chat. There is a question about if we offer online classes for English learners and or the SPED add-on, and the answer is absolutely we do. All of the programs that we've talked about here tonight are treated as online courses. There are both synchronous as well as asynchronous pieces to all of them. And so typically for both the TEL and the SPED, you know, we have courses that run, say, the ones this summer. We will have essentially what equates to an entire semester put into 4 weeks of time. We'll meet 3 times a week, and then there will be a variety of assignments that help people get prepared on the front end, and then as follow-up work. But yes, everything we do is made to be more accessible, especially to working teachers. And so that is all available online.
So the question is the deadline for summer classes. The summer application is open through June.
Hey, I had a question. So I'm currently a certified teacher, but I was wondering about the special education. Would that certify me fully to be able to teach special education, or is that just like an add-on to make me a better teacher?
It is both. So you would get a certification if you took the 6 classes and you took the praxis exam. You can, you know, we're billing it as directed at both because of the high level of need for our students across the region. And so, you know, one of the ways at this issue, we believe, is to, you know, add to the tool belt essentially of our general educators. And so while there will be sort of individualized assignments and so forth with the special education, as well as the TEL program for English learners, it serves both needs. So you'll have your certification. You're welcome.
All right, any other questions? So once again, Kelly's contact information is on the screen. Mine is sgold@tulane.edu. Do not be shy. We like hearing from prospective students. We certainly hope you'll become our permanent students, and that we'll see you in classes. And like I said, our summer, our first term for summer starts in May. So starts May 24th. So get your application in, and we're not sure if that's going to be a tight squeeze. Wait, Kelly.
Actually, just to verify, I mean, a little bit of a correction there, Sheila. For these programs, we have summer institutes at TPCP. We run a little bit different of a schedule. So if I was hearing you correctly, we will not start our classes until June 7th.
Okay, sorry. Yes.
Yes. So the first Summer Institute 1 will run from June 7th through July 3rd. And then the second will run from July 5th, July 2nd. And then the next one will run from July 5th through the 29th.
So with our application being open through June, if you choose to wait until closer to the end of June, you may miss out on that first part, but you'll be able to get the second session. And Rebecca put her information in the chat as well. Any other questions? Okay, well, we really appreciate you all coming tonight. We certainly hope that we will go ahead and hear from you all, put your applications in, and we will be more than excited to be welcoming you all to our program as students soon. We wish you all a really good night.
Thanks, everybody.